Wake up! Wake up, wake up, wake up! Up you wake, up you wake, up you wake, up you wake! This is Mr. Senior Love Daddy, your voice of choice. The world's only 12-hour strong man on the air. Here on We Love
Films
108 FM. The last on your dial, but first in your hearts. And that's the truth. Root. Here I am. Am I here? You know it. You know. This is Mr. Senior Love Daddy doing the nasty to your ears to the nasty. Eyes only play the platters that matter, the matters they platter. And that's the truth. Root.
From the heart of Bed-Stuy, you're listening to We Love
Films.
Doing the yin and the yang, the hip and the hop, the stupid fresh thing, the flippity flop.
Movies. We watch movies. You listen to us talk about movies that we watched without you.
It's beautiful.
Thanks. Now this is podcasting.
Dude, so last night before I got into work, I took 2 Tylenol, Sudafed, and a Mucinex.
Dang,
And
going to work slizzard.
Dude, I was so high.
Yeah?
I was fucking just lit.
Are you sick?
Allergies. This time of year always gives me allergies.
That's
and
why
bad sickness.
That's why you took Tylenol.
Nothing
Sudafed.
nothing contagious. Just allergies and horrible mucus and stuff. Feeling all right now.
Well, Trey, I do have something that may help you with your sickness.
What?
I brought you the
the
laxative that you left at my house.
Oh man, I was hoping you would bring that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me see this.
Yeah.
Did you eat
Trey
all of the peanut butter?
Trey left a big old thing of laxative in my
Nick
house.
just came back from a foreign land and he was very famished, and I felt like I would give him some nutrients. So I gave him the peanut butter.
Oh.
Or I just shoved it in his bag. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So he has the peanut butter now. I thought he needed it more than I do. But thank you. This is the listener at home can't see, but this is Gentle laxative from Kroger brand, by the way. Mm-hmm. And this is something.
It works just the same.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
It does. You were very close to having to take a whole bunch the other day, right? But you instead.
My compacted bowels?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I just decided to drink out of the toilet instead.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That was a good time.
Can I do a PSA?
Sure.
If you are invited to a white elephant or you're invited to partake in any sort of gift exchange,
Yeah.
the assumption should not be, oh, this is crappy gag gift exchange. So buy a good gift. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but just don't buy 2 boxes of oatmeal.
Yeah, our old pal Trey ended up with a big old thing of peanut butter and some laxative.
I was not complaining. I thought that was pretty funny. I got the joke. Now,
yeah.
I bought a serious gift, but
right.
That's just me.
Yeah, no, that should be the standard. There's always going to be the person. But
also, if you get a bad gift, don't be like Kirk and pout about it all night. Just because you got a minion ornament.
I would have loved that minion ornament.
Right.
I would have cherished that minion ornament.
Be a good sport, but also be a good participant.
Yes, just be a good dude all around.
Also, word of a warning, word to the wise.
Mm-hmm.
If you are partaking in a white elephant gift exchange and you see that there are presents wrapped in things like, Kroger bags.
Don't take that.
Maybe take that as a hint of they just bought this at Kroger on the way here.
See, I was trying to play the odds. Like, it probably is nothing, but what if it's something?
Mm-hmm.
What if it's something
Could
good?
be.
Yeah.
What if it's a cool thing,
Yep.
And I open it and it's a
Bitcoin.
Yeah, what if it's a Bitcoin?
Could have been.
One physical Bitcoin.
Yes, one Bitcoin. That would have been amazing.
Oh, yeah, I got this awesome gift. Let me just cut this paper bag in half and staple it
I didn't
together.
even have to cut it in half. I just opened one of the bags and it was there. That's what I saw.
Just put 2 bags into each other.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this is Super FilmsCast 64. This is the #1 podcast on the internet about films. By the way, if you're listening to our podcast feed, we have changed the feed from Super Gamescast 64 to Super FilmsCast 64.
Yeah.
Austin died.
Austin did die. R.I.P. He died in that smelting accident.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did he finally use his mini materials?
Yes, he did.
And it killed him. Good job.
Mm-hmm. But he's gone, and the FilmsCast lives on. So I just figured, instead of the whole You Save It thing was just freaking giving me a headache, and I didn't want to contact the guy because he might have been like, hey, you don't get this free thing anymore, so I'm just going to cancel your account. And I didn't want to buy another SoundCloud. Right. And so I figured the best course of action, because the Gamescast does so well on the Blowout Network, is to just change this feed to the FilmsCast.
Now does it just say FilmsCast, but it still holds both?
Yes, it still holds both. It just says FilmsCast. It's
so you
under the TV and movie category, and it also has our names on it.
Yeah, so you guys can still find your great Gamescast content coming to you, maybe not quite as consistently as ours. Maybe sometimes it's late week, other times it's on the weekend or whenever. But
I think you're throwing shade at Austin, and I don't appreciate
it's just
that.
maybe they're just not quite as consistent with their dates.
Huh.
And
Wow.
just
All
to any new listeners out there,
new
who found,
newbies.
oh wow, look at this cool new Films podcast. If you start seeing games podcast pop up into your subscribed feed, and you are just one of those people who hate video games, just go on and slide that delete button.
Yeah, it's so easy
Don't listen
to
to
delete.
it.
Don't listen to it.
But listen to the films.
Listen to all the movie talk. We don't talk
Instead,
video games.
just listen to 2 hours of guys talking about the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, that sounds like a time. Yeah, it does sound like a time. That was a fun conversation we had. We should kind of go back and relive that.
I'm down to do it again.
Yeah, let's do it
From
again.
the top.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Trey, what's happening on today's show?
Well, today's show, we're going to talk about what we've been watching. It's usually a staple of the show. What we do is we talk about what we've been watching, which is a staple of the show. Then we're going to get into some news talk. We got some news items on dock, including, I'm assuming you've got all this, the Golden Globe nominations.
I do.
And then, after that, we're going to go into our box office picks and see who won last week, and we're going to make picks for next week.
I think we all kind of lost.
We all kind of
really,
lost, yeah.
this last week.
It was weird. It was a weird week. And then, finally, after that, we're going to have kind of a two-part discussion. We're going to talk The Disaster Artist, and then we're going to finish off our Star Wars retro review with The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a plan?
That sounds like a plan to me.
Okay.
I'm in.
Let's get into it. What have you guys been watching?
I'll go first. I watched exactly two things last week. I watched The Disaster Artist, which we're going to talk about, and I watched The Force Awakens.
There you go.
And I stayed awake for almost all of The Force Awakens.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
The Force falls asleep.
Yep, The Force asleepeth.
Why do you fall asleep so much during movies?
Because I watched them maybe a little bit late, and by late I mean like 9:30.
Damn.
It's pretty late.
Yeah, it's late.
I just got a lot going on in my life.
No, I
you guys.
understand.
He's a homeowner now.
He is.
Yeah.
He is a homeowner.
Spencer's dealing with
Oh, yeah.
hot water heaters leaking. And
Man,
That's not even a. That's
hardwood
not even
floor, all that.
That's not even a homeowner joke. Or my hot water heater really did leak, the very first morning.
Wow. Oh no.
It
That's
was
not
the
good.
most stereotypical homeowner morning.
just getting right into it.
Yep.
Next thing you know, the HOA is going to be on him. All kinds of wiring issues. Contractors not doing their jobs
Yeah.
correctly.
He needs to remove a tree from the backyard.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I need to remove all those trees, you guys.
You got to do some weeding, some weed whacking.
Mm,
Yep, growing weed. They're
Yeah.
gonna get on me about that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. It's tough to own a home.
Oh, some the first night as well. Some crazy woman was screaming, "Oh my God, please, please, please! Oh my God, he has my phone! Oh my God,
Oh,
don't
no.
call the cops! I'm already on probation! Oh my God!" 1:30 in the morning.
Why was Lexi doing that?
Top of her.
Yeah.
She didn't like the way I grabbed her by the throat.
Oh no. Jeez. This has turned very dark.
Oh, man.
This is super domestic violence. 64.
All right. Let's see. I
Not
can talk.
sending this one to John.
I can talk about the movies that I've seen.
Sure.
I saw 3 billboards
Okay.
outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
How was that?
It's kind of a mess.
Really?
It's all over the place. There's so much going on in the movie that I don't think necessarily needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good movie within the movie that is shown. I think by cutting characters, combining characters, and just kind of streamlining the story, you could make a much stronger film.
Right.
There are a lot of really good performances in it, and there's a lot of really cool things in it, but there's also a lot of excess that I don't necessarily understand, and some weird tonal shifts. Spencer, I know you saw it.
Yeah, I had pretty much the same take. It was, I really liked the performances. I thought the idea was cool, but there was, a lot of clutter and just dragged in a lot of areas.
Yeah. So overall, I'm gonna go throw a rating on it. Slap a rating on it. I'm gonna throw a 3 on it.
3.
Yeah, I think in my head I was giving it like
3
3.5.
billboards. Because are we doing a?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I give it 2 out of 3 billboards. Then right. I'm outside of Ebbings, Missouri.
Yeah, I gave it like 2 and 1 partially burned down billboard.
Is it?
Oh, right.
Is it? Who wrote and directed it?
It's the fella who did In Bruges. What's his name?
McDonough.
Okay. All right.
Is it McDonough? Martin
I think
McDonough.
so.
It's with Frances McDermott, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and she's great.
She's really good.
It gave me a very Coen Brothers vibe. The trailer did.
It is kind of a dark comedy
Yeah.
way of looking at the world, and there are definitely comedic characters in it. It's based in like a rape murder, is kind of at the center of it, and then there's just kind of wacky, eccentric characters all around it.
Yeah.
It's also really long. I don't know if it's actually long or if it just felt long, because there's an event that happens to Woody Harrelson, who plays the sheriff in the movie. And you kind of think the movie's wrapping up, but that's really kind of just like when it ramps up.
Yeah. Right, that's like end of Act 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been getting a lot of award buzz.
Yeah, it got nominated, right?
It got nominated for a bunch of Golden Globes. And I don't necessarily disagree with any of them except for the Best Drama nomination.
Yeah,
because again, there's a lot of good stuff in it. But
yeah, I think any of the actors really would deserve at least a nomination for supporting or leading, even though there's not really a leading man. There are kind of two, like, really
there's like an A story and a B story almost.
And all the performances were good. I think the interplay between a lot of the characters was really good. But as a cohesive story, it was not worthy of a nomination.
I would say it's probably worth seeing, depending on what else is out there. If you haven't seen, I would rather watch The Disaster Artist. I would rather see the new Star Wars. If you want something to talk about, maybe I would rather see Justice League, just to have something from that cultural standpoint. But overall, it's kind of good.
I'd give it a red box sit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Red box.
Red box sit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I've been watching more of The Good Place. So
I have
season
a very
2.
hard time watching it.
That's okay.
You can stop.
No,
Trey.
I need to, but it
don't
gets
need to do
very cheesy for me, especially when it's Ted Danson talking with like the British chick. It gets very just everyone's just so happy, and it's kind of hard for me to watch.
Keep watching. Finish the first
Okay.
season.
Yeah.
I will.
That's what I would suggest. And I really enjoyed the way season 2 kind of spun off and was able to continue a story that I wasn't necessarily sure how they were going to do it. I'm still a little curious as to how it is going to progress from episode to episode. But so far, it's pretty enjoyable.
Okay.
So and besides that, I watched Disaster Artist and I watched Force Awakens.
Okay. I watched the Ed Sherrington show, that episode you told me to watch with the trash can. What was it?
The Chris Gethard show.
Gethard, not
Trash
Ed
or
with
Cash?
the dumpster.
The Chris Gethard show. I don't know why I said Ed Sherrington. That is
I
weird.
don't know who Ed Sherrington is.
Isn't he like that British singer? Or?
That's Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
Oh, whatever.
There's
I don't
Kevin
know.
Sherrington from the Dallas Morning News.
Yeah. So the Chris Gethard show.
Dermot
that episode,
Mulroney, maybe?
huh?
No, I'm not going.
No. With the trash can starring
dumpster.
The dumpster. starring those. I never remember their names.
Paul Scheer
and Jason Mantzoukas.
Hey, man.
Who I don't ever like him in movies he's in, but he seems like a really funny guy when he's not a character.
In podcasts,
yeah.
He's about the funniest person I've ever really listened to that much, and I think it's just a matter of being able to channel that energy into the proper role for him. Because a lot of times now he's still... did you watch The League at all?
Very little of it.
Okay, in his role in The League as Rafi is very good, and but it's just kind of the show is not necessarily made for broad audiences. I am thinking he is my pick to be the next Zach Galifianakis, to where as a guy who I watched and I was like, this guy is going to be big, and he just needs his hangover or whatever to make it happen.
Yeah, I thought he was very enjoyable in this. And pretty much, it is really funny. It is funny to watch the kind of the awkward chemistry between Chris Gethard, who knows he needs to get this show going, and then they just want to fuck around.
Yeah, so in case if you don't know, this is an old episode of TV where Chris Gethard has Paul Scheer and Jason Mantzoukas on, and they're getting calls from people who are watching the show to try to figure out what's in a dumpster that they have. So I don't know. That's kind of the conceit.
And it's online. It's on YouTube. It used to be a public access, right? And then now it's just sort of an internet show.
And then it moved to Fusion, and now it's on TBS.
Okay,
True TV.
But yeah, you can find this episode on YouTube. Don't look at the comments. Don't look at anything. Just watch it because there's a point, and you mentioned it last time, and it really is. There's a point where they look inside. They have to guess what is in a trash can or what is in a dumpster. I'm sorry, a dumpster, and it's a very large dumpster. And and if they don't guess it, then it gets stowed away. No one knows ever again. And they're about halfway through. They look inside the dumpster and realize, oh, we need to answer. Yeah, like it totally changes their whole.
So Paul and Jason know what's in the dumpster, but the audience does not. And then they move from actively trying to keep the show away from whatever they're trying to do to being like, oh, what's in the dumpster is super awesome.
Yes.
And we need to figure this out.
Yes. So give that a watch. I won't talk any more about it because it's something you just need to see. It's really good. Also, he kind of looks like a skinnier version of Drew Carey.
Yeah, he does. And then he has Tintin hair.
He has Tintin hair, which I think both of you need to start doing Tintin hair. I think you guys could pull it
off. A little curl straight up front.
A little curl. And then I also watched All the President's Men last night.
Oh, okay.
While I was high on my pills.
Is there a reason?
Yeah, The Post. Thought it'd be a good movie to watch. About to see The Post coming out soon, and a lot of things about Watergate I did not realize. I thought I was very knowledgeable about that era of American history, but I did not realize that the Washington Post was really the only newspaper that was up on the Watergate story. I thought it was sort of I thought it was a thing that kind of everyone was getting onto. I didn't realize it was only the Washington. And it was
they were meeting in parking garages.
Yeah.
And...
Well, I knew about Deep Throat, but I didn't realize that it was it was a very small story. Like no one was carrying it, but the Washington Post was just on it.
And just kept pulling them strings.
It was very enjoyable. There's a lot of typing in that movie. You hear a lot of typing.
Oh, yeah.
A whole lot of it. It also came out 4 years after the Watergate scandal ended. Like after Reagan, or not Reagan, Nixon resigned and all that. Which is interesting because you always... I remember after 9/11, all those 9/11 movies came out. You're always like, man, it seems like it's just too soon, but I mean that was pretty soon afterwards. And I guess it's a lot. It's different, but still, historical thing happens, and then the movie comes out pretty soon after. And it's an enjoyable movie. I really enjoy those kind of, sort of journalistic movies, more about more about the journalistic process than maybe more than the characters themselves. I thought it was a fun watch.
Okay.
Definitely very informative if you don't know too much about the Watergate scandal and all that.
All right. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Moving on to some news. All right, let's do it. I have a kind of shorter news segment today just because I wasn't sure, do we want to pick our Golden Globe winners today, or because we have 2 movies, maybe wait until next week?
Maybe we can wait.
Okay.
When is the
show? The show is January 7th, so we have time.
Yeah.
Let's do next week.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first one I have is Ryan Reynolds.
Though I do have a prediction for Golden Globes and Oscars.
Okay.
It's the same movie.
Okay.
Keep going, yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is going to play the voice of Detective Pikachu
Yeah.
in the movie.
That's what we need.
So is he going to be just saying Pikachu? Is this Pikachu just saying Pikachu?
Is it going to be I Am Groot?
No, it's going to be him actually talking.
He's going to, yeah.
It's actually talking.
That's strange to me.
Because they had a trailer where Pikachu was actually talking. I haven't really been following this that much. I knew there was a Detective Pikachu movie coming out, but I didn't realize that
Is it going to be like a neo-noir style?
Yeah.
It's
going to be like Blade Runner.
Pikachu's really getting to the bottom of the case. And it's his last day on the force. It's the last, his one last case.
And in your gun and badge, Pikachu, you're off the case.
Yeah, I'm just an old man. This is not a case for me.
Or he's doing Deadpool and he's making a whole lot of jokes.
Oh, no.
Look at my little yellow penis.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds, you're so funny.
Peek at these nuts.
In my ass.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm a rat.
An Obi-Wan spin-off movie.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Oh,
Starting production in 2019.
Ewan's coming back?
Ewan.
Ewan McGregor.
I think.
But he's going to have his Minnesota accent from Fargo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Keep that.
I think this is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that when we were going back through the prequels.
So were they, apparently.
Yeah, that Obi-Wan.
Listening.
Exactly. JJ, we know you listen. Disney, we know you're keeping your ear to the ground to the hottest desires that people want. You're listening to Super FilmsCast 64. You gave us the Obi-Wan thing we wanted.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Thanks
you
a
got
lot.
your finger on the pulse.
Exactly.
Of the people. Hopefully they can finally reveal why Obi-Wan aged so rapidly between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
In 20 years.
I mean, I expect them to do that, to kind of give you a reason why he aged like that.
Hopefully he doesn't get hit by Force lightning.
Oh,
I wonder.
Power!
I wonder if we'll get Qui-Gon back as well.
Yeah, I think we will.
You think so?
Yeah, because you remember Yoda said your old master has learned how to come back from the dead and go find him. And so, yeah, Qui-Gon would be back.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I assume it's going to be in between the prequels and New Hope.
Yeah, and it's going to be Liam Neeson. His daughter is going to be kidnapped, and they got him and Ewan McGregor got to go find them.
One last job.
Yeah.
God damn it, Obi-Wan.
Too old for this shit.
Quentin Tarantino is going to be directing an R-rated Star Trek movie.
Very weird, but cool, but weird. Star Trek doesn't need to be R-rated, really. It's not really that kind of thing, you know?
So is this going to be his last film?
No, I don't think so, right? He's not writing it.
No, but it's, I don't think it's going to be his last film. I don't think whatever his next movie is going to be made is going to be his last one anyway, even though he has been talking about it.
He always says it'll be his last one.
I don't know why.
I think
this seems very not good to me.
No, it doesn't. I don't think Star Trek doesn't need to be R-rated.
Star Trek fans were mad enough at it being mainstreamed by J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be such a big departure from what Star Trek is.
Yeah. Star Trek is kind of just based in sort of stories and like as far as sort of like morality tales, and at least that's what the gist of it I get. It's more of a, I don't know, it's more of an allegory about humanity than it is about a bunch of girls with knockers cutting people with samurai swords.
Will this be Chris Pine Kirk, or is it going to be a new Kirk?
Well, they don't really say anything yet. I know that Patrick Stewart said he would be willing to come back.
Yeah, I heard that.
To do it, which that would be kind of fun to do a TNG shoot 'em up. Like, I'm super interested in it as its own movie, maybe not as necessarily a Star Trek vehicle. I don't know.
Please God, give me Christoph Waltz as Scotty. Beam me up, Scotty. Well, actually, if
No, keep going. Keep going. That was good.
that's all I got.
No, I want to hear more.
Well, the Fullerton beams and.
All right.
Edgar Wright said he's going to make Baby Driver sequels. He's going to write at least the second one.
Wow. So are we just going to keep... What other crimes is he going to commit and get off lightly, and the girl's going to just say, whatever, it's okay? That ending was such a stupid ending. I'm sorry.
Well, he does get caught.
But he goes to prison, and it's like, oh, I'm going to prison. Look at me. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I get out in 5 years. Oh, look, my girl's still waiting for me. I don't even look like I've been fucked this shit up. That kid would have been fucked up in prison. And he looks just like, oh, I'm very well adjusted coming out of prison. Here's my girl waiting by my Mercedes car, and
How long was he in?
For like a year, for like 5 years. Even though it would have been like 30 years. He would have been in jail for?
Not with all of those, eyewitness testimonies.
Yeah, they
actually
said
a good guy.
Yeah, they said he was a real nice guy. And he gave back her purse. And,
yeah, must be a nice guy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, that was kind of dumb.
Yeah, I think I'm not a big fan of this.
No,
I bet they're glad that they killed off Kevin Spacey, so they don't have to dance around that.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yep. All right, and then the Golden Globe nominations.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll probably just talk about notable ones if we're not gonna.
I like Baby Driver all right. I thought the ending was lame.
Yeah,
sorry,
that's fine.
Yeah. So Best Picture Drama.
Yes.
This will be the only one that I read a bunch of. Is the Best Picture ones: Call Me by Your Name, Dunkirk, The Post, Shape of Water, 3 Billboards.
Mm-hmm.
So I have seen 2 of those,
2
out of 5, and that's one of the things that's going to be interesting about Golden Globes picks, is because a lot of times a lot of these movies aren't necessarily widespread.
No.
By the time that it's necessarily voted on, so they're seeing something that you haven't yet.
Exactly,
right? Because the Post is not out.
The Post is not out. Call Me by Your Name and Shape of Water are in limited release right now.
Right.
And I think 3 Billboards is technically as well.
Oh yeah, that is.
Well, I saw 3
That's
Billboards
a very
several
odd.
weeks ago.
That's a very odd list. I don't know. It just seems odd to me. That list.
Why?
It seems like 2 of those movies just like they're not even out yet. They just came out or barely out, and I don't know. It just seems like there'd be more. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking more Oscar stuff, but
well, I think that your idea of awards movies are very different than what is awards movies.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm
no Thor.
No Thor.
Yeah, no Thor.
I don't know. No, I think usually it's stuff that has been out for a while, but
that's 100% not true.
I know it's not true at all.
It's usually like those March April releases.
This is why it's called Oscar season, baby.
No, I know I'm wrong there, but I don't know. It just seems.
It feels weird to me. I mean, I haven't seen.
The 3 Billboards is weird,
but without seeing them, it feels like a weak class.
Yes, that's maybe what I'm trying to say.
I still need to see Shape of Water. I still need to see. I didn't even know about The Post, to be
really
completely honest. And then Call Me by Your Name. I'm going to see that with Lexi's reading the book right now, so we'll see that.
All right, Best Picture, Musical or Comedy: The Disaster Artist, Get Out, The Greatest Showman, I, Tonya, and Lady Bird.
Okay. The Greatest Showman seems like the biggest puke movie I've ever
What's The Greatest Showman?
It's Hugh Jackman leading Ringling Brothers, right?
Barnum and
like
Bailey,
starting,
maybe?
Yeah.
Or is it Ringling Brothers?
One of them. He starts a circus. He's P.T. Barnum. He's Barnum and Bailey.
Okay.
But because it's a musical or comedy thing, it's a musical. And so a lot of times musicals get in to this category because they're the only musicals.
It looks like
it looks real bad, yeah.
Absolute poop.
I don't like musicals.
But I would say that this is probably a stronger
I
don't know if
so.
necessarily. I haven't seen Call Me by Your Name. Everyone says that's great. Shape of Water, everyone says that's great. The Post has an amazing cast and is directed by Steven Spielberg. So you can't really count any of those out. Get Out was fantastic. I, Tonya looks amazing. Lady Bird was really good. So I don't know. I think that's a pretty good list. A lot of times
Dunkirk was amazing. That might be enough to carry the drama category for me because that was so good.
Do you want to give predictions on just drama?
Okay.
No.
We'll wait.
Okay.
I guess we'll wait. All right, some of the other things that I stuck out to me.
Sure.
Jessica Chastain in Molly's
I
game.
got one if you don't mention it. So.
I think I know what it
Okay.
is. Jessica Chastain in Molly's game,
Yeah.
which is the movie where Jessica Chastain shows her cleavage the entire time.
How have I not seen this?
In the trailer, all it is her boobies popping.
All right.
And that's supposed to come out
So to speak.
soon. Yeah, those titties be coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Judi Dench. Now, one of the things about the Golden Globes is that they tend to give nominations to people so they show up to their awards show. They nominated like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, so Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie would show up one year and stuff like that. Judi Dench feels like something to try to get a big name actress in, because that Victoria and Abdul trailer is horse shit. Mm-hmm. It's up there with one of my.
Oh, that's the one where the Queen of England.
Yeah, oh, you want a mango? And then he's like, the mango has turned, and she's like, oh no, the mango is bad. It's real bad. Emma Stone in Battle of the Sexes also feels to me like a star, because boy, that movie was garbage.
I'm surprised the Dress movie wasn't nominated for anything.
The Dress movie?
The Phantom
Pain.
Oh, Phantom Thread. Yeah. Only Daniel Day-Lewis.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
That is interesting.
That's on my my awards list too, that movie, for something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another Steve Carell was also in Best Actor in a Comedy. Ansel Elgort also nominated. Baby Driver himself.
Yeah,
the titular
that's
Baby
not
Driver.
That's not a good nomination.
I think it is partially because it is musical or comedy.
Yeah,
and he does a little dancing.
Yeah,
and then.
But I talk like this, my West Virginia accent.
Yeah,
it's not great.
It's not great. James Franco also nominated.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
he might win.
Supporting actress Mary J. Blige from Mudbound.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Willem Dafoe. And his whole penis is
just his penis.
Just his penis gets Best Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture
for what movie?
The Florida
Project.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
Christopher Plummer.
I don't like any movie with the name Project in it. It just doesn't like.
What, you didn't like Project X?
No.
Are you kidding?
Hell no,
dude.
That movie sparked a generation of partiers.
Yeah. It was a party to end all parties,
It was, man. I know, I'm sorry.
Please tell me you got to go to one of those Project X parties.
Dude, every Fiji party was a Project X party. And just let you know.
Dude. Christopher Plummer for supporting actor.
And
that's him replacing Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. It's the thank you for taking over the role award. Here you go for being a good dude.
When I went to go see The Disaster Artist, it was at the Angelica. So it was a smaller theater, and the trailer for All the Money in the World still had starring Kevin Spacey. Like it was like a big deal, and there was like an audible like in the audience, just people. And it made me laugh.
That's great.
Let's see, and then the one that
I think I saw TC put me to this led me to this tweet, and it's from I think it's a Pixelated Boat, and it's what is it exactly? It's Milkshake Duck is very popular. Everyone loves Milkshake Duck. 5 minutes later, we're sorry to report, but Milkshake Duck is a racist.
Yes.
That is 2017 in a nutshell.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
The old Milkshake Duck.
The old Milkshake Duck.
Let's see. And then for animated movie, this is, I think, what you were talking about.
Yes.
Boss Baby.
Yes.
Nominated. Which I told you on my very first appearance on the GamesCast, I told you Boss Baby was not a bad movie.
And Austin told you to shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
proved him wrong.
We need to see that movie now. We need to review Boss Baby.
It's on Netflix.
With Austin.
So
that's an award-winning movie now.
It is.
I get to rub that in his face, and I get to rub that Suicide Squad got an Academy Award for Best Costume in my friend Matt Birmingham's face now. It's great. I love these award shows.
Lucky you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, box office news. winner this week was Coco
Yeah.
None of us
with
picked Coco?
18 million. Our old friend Trey Mitchell picked
Hey,
Coco.
dang
look
it.
at me.
So Trey now has 4 correct.
I know what the people want.
I know. I think you're actually
Spencer.
at 5 now.
I know what the people want.
So Coco,
I was still in the lead last week, so he is at best tied with
okay.
me.
Well, then maybe he does have 4, and I already changed it. So it'd be Spencer 4, Trey 4, Adam 3. Coco 18 million, Justice League 9 million, Wonder 8 million, Disaster Artist 6.3 million. It was only released in 840 theaters.
Yeah.
And so that means it's about 3,000 theaters short of what most movies get released.
Right.
So
all the buzz was Disaster Artist doing great. Doing great. And it made, I think worldwide, it made like almost its money back, and it was only a $10 million budget.
yeah, they're just slow rollout, or they just know what the audience is planning to
Right.
be, and that it's not necessarily a movie for every single market, and maybe every single theater doesn't want to carry it.
Right. I had a buddy who was in Columbia, Missouri this past weekend, and he had tickets to see it. And they get there, and all of a sudden, they decided to pull the movie. The theater's
Is that
not going to
the
show it
question we
anymore.
got?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And so he was at some Regal theater, and they just decided, no, we're not going to show this movie. Actually,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when we saw it, there weren't a lot of people in the theater. You know.
Yeah, when I went and saw it, there weren't very many people at all
Yeah.
either. And then Shape of the Water
Man, I want to see that.
made
bad.
1.1 million. It's in 53 theaters as of this week.
Mm-hmm.
But
that was a good pick, Spencer, for number 2.
yeah.
Spence.
So this week we have The Last Jedi and Ferdinand the Bull.
I think Ferdinand the Bull's going to pull ahead. You know.
No, is that your pick?
No.
You said it.
No,
You
no,
said
no,
it. You
no,
can't.
no,
No
it was a
takes these
joke.
back.
That was a joke.
Okay, so I assume we're all taking Last Jedi.
Yes.
I'll take Last Jedi.
Yeah, I am also taking Last Jedi.
I might just go with the spread. As far as like same thing,
As far as
like Coco after that.
you want to go Coco after
Yeah.
that? Okay, I'm going to take Ferdinand.
I'm going to take.
What's Ferdinand?
Too late. Taking Ferdinand.
Oh boy, you got to ask these questions before.
Whoa!
Ferdinand's the movie where John Cena plays the bull.
Oh, I'm gonna take. All right. Well, in that
You
case,
already
no,
took it.
In that case,
You already said.
I'm gonna take Coco next.
Okay,
Coco.
so
Then I'll
Spencer,
take Ferdinand.
you're taking Ferdinand.
I'm taking Ferdinand because I believe in the power of John Cena,
I also believe in the power of John Cena,
which is
You
why
know,
I'm going to see Cock Blockers
I think.
in theaters sometime.
My God, that was a terrible trailer.
I'll tell you what, I hated the trailer. I thought this looked so stupid, and in the end, John Cena running away with his pants halfway down his legs. I laughed.
You laughed and a halved.
I laughed
All right.
because John Cena.
laugh at that ass. Okay, so Spencer, what do you have after Ferdinand?
Oh, geez, what else is out?
There's
I'm
Coco, Justice League. You could go for Disaster
Artist pulls ahead.
for Shape of Water.
I'm gonna go with. I'm going to go with Disaster Artist.
Okay.
I'm going with my heart.
Okay, and then I'm going to take Coco after that. So Spencer has Last Jedi, Ferdinand, Disaster Artist. Trey has Last Jedi, Coco, Ferdinand. I have Last Jedi, Ferdinand, Coco. So those are our picks.
All right. Good job. Good job, team.
Excellent, everyone.
When you all lose, you're gonna feel so bad for not believing
Not believing in the John Cena.
in the Disaster Artist.
Oh no, I believe in it.
Speaking of, let's talk Disaster Artist.
Good job. Good job on the segue there. So, Disaster Artist, that is the movie based on the book, based on the movie, based on the production of the movie of The Room. The Tommy Wiseau, and I think you put it the best, Tommy Wiseau ego pick. You once said ego pick. I thought that was a good word.
Yeah?
And it pretty much is. And it's this, if you don't know the story of the disaster or of The Room, it is considered the worst movie ever made. And you if you're listening, you probably know what The Room is. It is made by this very odd human being, Tommy Wiseau, who no one really knows where he's from, No one really knows his age. No one really knows anything about him, how he got all his money. He got a ton of money, and he's this weird Eastern European-looking guy who wanted to make a movie, and so he made a movie. And every decision was just the weirdest, worst decision ever made in the movie. The book was written by the guy who played
his co-star
Greg Sestero,
mm-hmm.
and the movie is based on that said book. Now, you've read the book.
I have read the book,
yes.
So I will be able to provide insights that may not have been seen in the movie.
So, from my take, I feel like people who've read the book, and it's a little different than, I think it's a bit different than, like, I like the Harry Potter books a lot. I didn't like the movies as much because they left things out. I guess it is sort of the same thing, but I feel like you were talking about how the first day of production was a lot different in the movie, and you were expecting something because you read that in the book, and then it kind of went off that a little bit. How did you like it as someone who read the book?
The more I have sat and thought about it. Now, I am someone who loves The Room. It was on my top 10 movie list. Was that our very first episode?
Yeah, it was our first episode.
So The Room made my top 10 movies. I love The Room. I love The Disaster Artist as a companion piece to The Room.
Yeah.
As its own movie, it's not very good.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I think, I want to watch it again. After seeing it, I really liked it. I thought they're kind of between a rock and a hard place where you have two very different crowds to please. You have the people who don't know what The Room is, but they're going to see this movie, and then you have the Room mega fans who want to go and just kind of fuel that appetite they have for Tommy Wiseau's weirdness. So I feel like they did as good of a job as they could have to please both audiences, whereas they are giving you that kind of behind-the-scenes, just the cult of personality of Tommy Wiseau and the whole movie, while still giving you a story that has some sort of substance and not just a bunch of, oh, hey, remember this? So I really liked it. I'll definitely want to watch it a few more times, though.
They definitely did do the, hey, wasn't this... It definitely felt like they were kind of retreading off that How Did This Get Made podcast. Like, there were little parts that sounded very podcasty where they bring up, oh, yeah, they don't even mention that she had cancer, or they didn't even do this, and it was sort of getting those beats where I'd heard those things before, but I guess, like, as far as people who don't know the story, they wouldn't know that. And so to me, it seemed a little bit like, hey, this is a little fact from the making of the movie. Does that make sense? Or it seemed like some things were just sort of like kind of hastily placed in there, sort of like little tidbits about it.
Well, it does fan service.
Yes.
A ton. There's a ton of fan service, which is why I say as a companion piece to The Room, it works, because there are moments that you're like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But also, like, that's part of what happens in the making of the movie.
Yeah.
When you're making characters say lines that don't make sense and never came back, I think there's a big lack of that in the movie, in focusing on how the actors felt. There's a real lack of emotion in general in it. And I think one of the big problems, it's the same thing that I had with Battle of the Sexes, is that you can't make a biographical movie where you get someone to sign off on that movie and make them and portray them accurately. I think they needed Tommy Wiseau to sign off on it, and in the book The Disaster Artist, it's almost exclusively about how manipulative and like controlling Tommy is throughout with Greg.
I mean, it seemed like that in the movie, though. It seemed like he was very manipulative.
It's nowhere close to what it's like in the book.
Okay.
Can you tell me from the movie why Greg decided to be?
I have no clue. That's the thing, is what I don't get. Why did he even do that? I would have been like the first moment. Yeah, I would have been out of there very early on.
He was working in a clothes store, and Tommy paid him a ridiculous amount of money, and so they tried to make it be this friendship story.
Yeah,
where it's like
which was weird.
you and me against the world.
Yeah,
and it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
And that might be why Tommy Wiseau's quote is saying he approves of the book 40%. Mm-hmm. He approves of the movie 99.9%.
Because they're making more of a friendship thing.
Well, yeah, because in his like twisted, perception, it was that's what it was. It was that he's his friend and they are doing this together. When in actuality, he's a manipulative, crazy person.
Right. But even from like the very first scene where you have all the collection of actors come in to talk about the room, not one of them says it's a bad movie.
Yeah. No.
It just things like that they kind of dance around.
Right.
And then there's I guess the scene that's really at the core of the movie, not necessarily, but like a smaller version of what the entire movie stands for, is when he's doing his performance in front of Bob Odenkirk, and he says, "You'd be a great villain," and he's like, "I'm not villain, I hero," and that's I think what you're supposed to take from it is that he's the hero, but then he does
horrible
things that don't redeem himself,
but
then people are just kind of like okay with it. And there's just a whole lot of other things that happen in the production that I think could have been a much better, more interesting movie. And again, I like a lot of it. James Franco is an amazing Tommy Wiseau. Mm-hmm. And I think he could do the impression and said, I want to make this movie. I don't necessarily think that James Franco should have been the one to direct the movie. He could star in it, but I don't know if he's the one who had the go-to Tommy Wiseau and be able to stick it to him like he would need to.
Yeah.
And I think the movie suffers because of it.
No, I could definitely take that it was probably a little safe on portraying Tommy Wiseau because, we talk about character arcs. It doesn't seem like he changes at all. And man, there's some things I couldn't get. Is that you?
It's been going off the whole podcast.
I haven't heard it. I didn't realize.
I've been hearing it constantly.
Whoops.
No, like he just seems like a terrible human being, and they make him out to be somewhat of a sympathetic figure, which, man, to me, he was not. The way he treated his crew was not sympathetic. And I don't care if he was doing it because Stanley Kubrick did it and Alfred Hitchcock. No, he's an asshole. Then they just kind of try to make him into a sympathy. I didn't feel any sympathy for the guy.
Right. I do feel like it would be a weird character arc, though, if you gave him his real character arc where he's a crazy person, he's manipulative, he's a bad person, he gets this movie made. But he succeeds. But then he succeeds. Like, that's the truth, and that's authentic. And there is you can enjoy that, but it's, as far as making a movie, that's not necessarily a very, desirable.
Right. How much was? I feel like my take is I enjoyed it all right, but I didn't think it was great. I think you're right. It is a good companion piece to The Room. Though I feel like I want to read the book now. I really want to read the book because I feel like it seems like there's a lot of things that were made for the movie that weren't in the book and vice versa. Like there's sort of, it was maybe not as true to real life as the book might be.
Well, what do you have questions about? Let me clear them up.
Well, I know. Well, you just mentioned there that the whole friendship thing was a fallacy. They weren't friends, really. It was that whole thing was fake, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, they were. Greg cared about Tommy in that he gave him a place to stay in Los Angeles, and then Tommy stayed in San Francisco for a lot of it, and he gave him super cheap rent.
Yeah,
and then Greg went off and he did some movies, and Tommy got incredibly jealous of him. And there's kind of like this competition where Tommy thinks that he is, like, he wants to be Mark, essentially. He wants to be Greg.
Yeah.
But it's this whole thing of Tommy really manipulating Greg and making him feel bad and like disappearing and then kind of giving him what he needs and then showing up at his house with another like young actor friend that he's hanging out with now, and all these kind of like bait and switches things, and then he just has all this money and all these things that he can do or can make to make it possible for him to make this movie.
Yeah.
For Greg to put up with this, and he fired a bunch of his crew over and over again. The directors kept changing, technically, and just the way he spied on everyone on set, which they touch on a little bit in the movie, is another big thing. There's a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, it seemed, and I usually like it when people cast their friends, but it just seemed too Seth Rogen and James Franco-y a little bit.
I think the only casting problem I had was Dave Franco.
Oh, really?
Right.
Okay.
So speaking of that, so we liked James's performance.
James was great.
You thought Dave Franco was not good. How do we feel about Dave? And then, what are the other?
Well, his girlfriend was, what's her name?
Allison Brie.
Allison Brie, and that's his real life girlfriend.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're dating.
Dave Franco?
Yep.
Interesting.
So there's Dave Franco, and then what are the other performances that you liked or disliked?
Josh Hutcherson was amazing.
Yeah.
As Denny. He did a perfect Denny.
It was insane. You see it, and you're caught off guard, like, oh, that's Josh Hutch. It's Peter Malark. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's spot on.
Yeah, he does it so good with just like the same dumb smile and voice patterns.
How old am I supposed to be?
Yeah.
I thought it was weird that in the poster they put Seth Rogen's name on there, because he was in the movie, but it wasn't like a main central figure.
Yeah,
somewhat in it.
I think it's just that's more of a trying to advertise to that.
And I think he also wasn't
one of the producers.
Yeah,
writers involved.
Yeah. So,
So Seth Rogen, I thought
you didn't like Dave Franco though.
I didn't really. I think his character is confusing.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's very nervous.
Well, yes, he's playing Greg as like an unconfident younger kid.
Yeah.
When in reality, Greg is kind of a cocky asshole who believes he can be the next James Dean.
Right.
And
from that, I remember listening to that the How Did This Get Made with him. He did seem like kind of more cocky guy than that. Yeah. Yeah.
And he didn't know how to make his way around Hollywood and stuff. But at the same time, he was just kind of getting a lot of advantages from Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
In real life, I just think it's a difference from what he is, and it just didn't add to the dynamic. Because at its core, I think, and that's one thing that's always really good in Judd Apatow movies that have Seth Rogen things, and I know they talked about it at when they directed This Is the End. Is that you can do all kinds of wacky, silly stuff as long as you have a good emotional relationship core at the center of the movie. You can get away with doing whatever else. And I don't think the Tommy Greg relationship is particularly strong at all in this. It doesn't really establish. It just kind of. It's supposed to be like them against the world sort of thing, and they just kind of say it a couple times.
Yeah.
Right, because it does when in real life the relationship is so one-sided and just kind of give, so you do what I want, and you touch on that enough, then you're not going to be able to work your way around that being anything other than a what's the word I'm looking for? But like sort of an enablement type of relationship.
Yeah. What are your guys' favorite moments from the movie?
Most of the best moments for me are the Tommy moments, the laughs really. So like when he drives by and he's playing football with the kids, like, yeah, none of my friends drive this car. All your friends are little kids.
Yeah.
That's great. And then just all of when when Tommy is given basically like a statement, like a rhetorical question, and he answers with like what he thinks is a legitimate answer. Like, how many other directors can say they've done that?
Like 1,000.
Like 1,000. Those were fantastic.
I liked when he went to, I guess Judd Apatow was playing some producer, up to the producer, and he's doing Shakespeare. I thought that was funny. And then what was his line at the end? Man, why don't you come sooner? You got through 2 acts of Shakespeare. I thought that was funny. I thought the whole production was strong. I liked seeing, if the movie was mostly that, I think I would have liked it a lot more. If it was just mostly, this is what happened on set. This is how it was made. I think I would have dug it a little more than, all that beginning with Greg and Tommy. Because I really enjoyed the stuff on set. Then, like, his whole thing about how, Kubrick was an asshole and Hitchcock was an asshole, so I have to be an asshole is kind of funny. In sort of a warped way. It's like, that's how you have to be no, it's just those people had cred and they could do that. It was funny. And then he freaking starved them pretty much and made them.
Didn't give them water. Didn't refuse to pay for air conditioning.
And I just feel like he listened to, and I guess this was like, well, I guess he listened to a whole bunch of audio commentary about maybe Peter Jackson making what's her name do 1,000 takes with the Witch King or some weird takes. He's like, oh, that's how I have to make my movie to get the good performances. Where it's like, oh. Not really. It's just certain directors can do that if they trust them. It's not your stupid, weird ass warp movie.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite scenes is the ended up in a hospital on Guerrero Street.
Yeah.
Thing where there's like, Tommy, don't laugh this time.
It's not a funny story.
Yeah.
It's real human emotions.
Right, and it's stuff like that from the book that I really enjoyed. I think that there were moments that could have been done. The one that Trey was talking about. There's a moment when they're going in for the first day of production, and they kind of are slow motion walking up to the production, and then Tommy goes and he gives this big speech, and everyone goes to start shooting the room. In reality, they were 4 hours late on their very first day, and he was hours late pretty much every day. And I thought that would have been a really good comedy beat that they kind of missed for no reason. And I guess I know this sounds like someone who read the book not liking the movie as much, but I don't know. I guess just James Franco does a really great Tommy Wiseau, and it's worth it for that.
Yeah. I think when you're mixing based on a book that was also based on real life events, it gets a little more murky because, you want things to be as real as possible. And when you make changes, you kind of wonder why. I think that might be what you're kind of talking about, maybe. It just feels weird, not necessarily because it wouldn't work in the book, but it just feels like a weird change,
Yeah.
One part I remember that I really enjoyed because it kind of reminds me of any time I give a script to someone to read is when Tommy gives him the script of the book and he's like, read it now. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like, oh, that might be how people feel when I give them a script to read. Just read it now.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I will. And they're just reading it. And yeah, that was funny. I thought, and you just kind of try not to make any faces and it's great. It's just awesome.
The prosthetics on James Franco's jaw and brow are so good. When he's wearing his sunglasses,
looks just like him.
He looks exactly like Tommy. It's pretty insane. And then when they show the reenactments of the scene side by side, which that's what I loved, was just them being so spot on with everything from hand movements to placement or how they were turned or how everything is framed.
Yeah, perfectly framed.
It's so good, and the special features are going to be a lot of fun for this movie, I would say.
I definitely want to read the book. It made me want to read the book. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you guys think?
Out of $6 million budgets?
Out of 68 takes.
Jeez.
How many? Yeah. How many out of 68 takes?
Oh man. Well, that's kind of a weird number.
That's fine.
That's the idea.
I'll give it a 45 out of 68 takes.
Okay, so that's like a 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5, 4. Yeah.
Is it 3.5 or 4?
Let's go with 4.
Okay.
I'll give it a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 out of 5 or
Yeah.
so I guess
No, out of 68.
48 out of 68 takes. It's a little more of a 4 out of 5, right? All right.
Sure. I'll do 40 out of 68.
All
A
right.
3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 52 out of 68 takes.
Okay. That's what's that? Like a 4.5?
52 out of 68.
Okay. Thanks, Spencer. Thank you.
Closer to 4 than yours.
Oh, maybe. That's what you do when you do odd numbers. It's
Well, 68 is an
why
even
not out
number.
of 69?
Well, because they did 68 takes.
God damn it! All right, should have been 69.
No.
Anyway,
He nailed it.
If you
Yeah.
could
He
turn
had that
back
bottle.
time.
All he needed was that bottle.
all he needed was that bottle. That's what happened in real life, right?
I don't know.
No.
All
Anyway,
right.
Star Wars.
Star Wars time. Moving to our Star Wars. We finally finished it. All we needed was a bunch of weeks.
Yeah, that was tough. Let's do it
7
again next year.
Man, it's not the way to watch these.
I'm glad we
movies.
did it,
Not
but I never
at
want to do it
all.
again.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
You could watch them all over the course of a year and be happy.
Right.
Over the course of a month or month and a half, however long we've been
And
doing
we still have
this.
one more after this.
Mhm.
Right.
Technically, yeah.
But at least I'll have never seen
Yeah.
it before.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. This movie I felt
That's what I'm hearing.
after watching this back to back so close to the other ones,
Mhm.
it's like even more apparent how similar it is
Yeah,
to the
definitely.
others and just kind of taking bits and pieces.
Anyway, yeah, you want to go kind of down like how you've been doing it in the past?
Let's do
Been
it.
helming it.
Okay.
There we go.
So starting from the crawl, The Force Awakens. Luke's disappeared. The First Order, also known as Space ISIS, has taken over. They won't stop until they kill Luke. Leia is leading a resistance to find Luke and sends a pilot to go look for a clue.
Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron,
Dameron.
who I just don't
You don't like Poe?
I don't understand why there's nothing about his character to necessarily like.
See, I'm on the other side
I like
of that.
Poe.
I
Yeah.
love Poe.
I really like
think-
What is Poe's defining characteristic?
He's funny. He's witty. He's
when is he
cool,
funny?
He's ethnic looking. He's awesome.
Well, I just think he's daring. He's an overall cool guy.
He's a cool dude. He's a cool cucumber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it starts off right away with the stormtroopers going down to Jakku.
Jakku.
And it's the stormtroopers, and then it has the flashing lights on it, and it's kind of
Yeah.
close-ups, and then the light will flicker and it'll back away and stuff, and it immediately is kind of very obvious that J.J. Abrams isn't taking the Star Wars feel from the other movies and how it's
No.
shot.
But I kind of like that.
Yeah,
So,
I don't necessarily
No.
disagree with it, but the movie is very tight.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in a lot of the earlier Star Wars movies, everything is super
Yes.
wide.
It's more classically filmed.
Yes. And in this one, it has kind of like fake,
Yeah.
like documentary style footage where something will move and the camera will kind of
Yeah.
jerk around to get it. And then
Handycam.
kind of
and
like
whatnot.
zoom in unsteadily onto it. And it's just starts off right away letting you know that it's,
This ain't your grandma's Star Wars.
this is not the Star Wars you're used to.
This ain't pod racing.
So right away they go and attack, and a person Poe gives some important information to a droid.
Ooh.
It's like, oh wait, there's something that we need. We're gonna give it to a
It's a
droid
map.
on this desert planet.
Seen this before?
Mm-hmm. So they go. That first battle scene is kind of cool. I think.
It's pretty cool because it just shows freaking crazy bad boys, First Order, just slaughtering people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of establishes that Kylo Ren is pretty ruthless. He just kills a whole bunch of people and don't give no shits. I do like Finn's kind of character, that he's this stormtrooper who has second thoughts about things and has actual depth. Because I think, and I don't mean to get ahead, but I think what this movie did well is that it took kind of ideas that people kind of wanted from Star Wars and explored those.
Yeah.
And so like,
who are the stormtroopers?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's good sequel making, is kind of being like, if this, then what?
Yeah.
So if these stormtroopers are people, then how are they feeling about being kind of these ruthless killing machines?
Yeah.
And where do they come from? Like who? Because are these people enlisting? Are they slaves? Are they clones?
Kind of slave. He says he was taken at a very young age.
Yep.
Right.
So.
Yep, they're taken away. So a guy he's with gets shot, and then somehow his hand is all bloody, and he rubs it across his
marks him.
thing. Yeah. Just so you know.
Just so you know
who
it's
it
him.
is.
Yeah.
And then you have Kylo Ren comes, and he has his he's able to stop
That's pretty awesome.
the bullet.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it sets him up. Kylo Ren, this kind of big, badass dude, and goes and walks over to Poe and leans down to him on the ground, and then Poe says, so who talks first? And I'm like, this sucks. That is so I call that like the Marvel-fication of movies, where and I guess technically if it's like this, then it's the Disney-fication, where they give people attitudes and reactions that are not realistic in order to kind of
poke fun at the situation.
Right. And like,
it's like, I can't hear you out of that apparatus.
Yeah, make fun of kind of like movie conventions and stuff like that, as opposed to making it a thing. And it kind of takes me out of the movie every time that happens, where it's almost a break of the fourth wall. No one has anything to say.
I honestly, it didn't stand out to me in that instance, so I could see why that would do that. Hopefully I will. I'm not going to watch it again anytime soon, but if I
hear
watch
this
that
next one has that too. As well. Yeah,
it's the way the way all movies are. It's the way
Yeah.
Thor is. It's the way all those Avengers movies are.
And I'm kind of, and you brought up during the Thor discussion, which I thought was interesting that I hadn't really thought about, is that it kind of, or maybe you didn't bring that, you might have brought this up, that it kind of, it takes the material and it doesn't really give it a chance to be serious, because it's kind of making fun of itself at all times.
Yeah.
So even though it is kind of silly, it never tries to make itself serious or meaningful. It just sort of it's silly, so we're going to make fun of it.
Yeah. It also, I think, undercuts Kylo Ren, where it kind of like, he's this big badass, and this guy's just like not scared. And he's like reacting to where a guy who is obviously going to kill him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, me.
Yeah.
Who cares about this guy? Who cares about if I live? Whatever. Then BB-8 rolls off, droid rolling around all alone on a desert planet.
Now, it was the same planet, though, which I do appreciate, that it wasn't like 5 different planets, all this stuff happened
right.
on,
Yeah.
It was one planet.
Also, I feel like that village looked very bare.
I think they were trying to kind of detour from, it did actually, the main village.
It just,
Yeah, it did. It was weird. I don't know. I think they might have been trying to detour from like the huge sweeping villages and places from the prequels,
right?
But also sort of make it a little. They're trying to kind of what sort of Blade Runner did is take the technology and then expand it a few years, but not make it like grand. Just make it like it's a little better, a little bigger, a little nicer, but not still kind of that 1970s framework.
Right. I think the fact that it was not everything is green screen, and even if it is, it's not just like we are in this grand tower, and there's like tons of stuff happening everywhere.
Right.
Just made it feel cleaner and less distracting.
Yeah. Even just that first scene with all the stormtroopers in it, just seeing like real stormtroopers is like it's so much better. And then it's John Boyega as Finn going, and he takes off his mask.
A black stormtrooper.
Oh boy, he's a black stormtrooper, and people are furious. And then
I did like how they made it seem like everybody was multicultural, because that's how it would be. I mean, you have aliens walking around. It's not all going to be white people.
Well, it'd probably be a lot less humanoid.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
That's that too. Right. Yeah, it is weird that they're all the stormtroopers are humanoid, no like other alien races.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about Captain Phantasma?
She is the Boba Fett of the new trilogy.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't care. I freaking love her.
She's great.
She's God. What's
she
her
looks
name
cool.
from Game of Thrones?
She's Brienne
of Tarth from Game of Thrones. And I was into her.
The Boba Fett of the new trilogy.
She
looks cool.
Yeah, she has the shiny armor.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it's just the same, but platinum.
Yeah. And a cape.
Sweet.
She got a cape.
Yeah, I feel like her and Poe are both set up for more movies. And I think that's an issue with this movie in general.
That's an issue with movies in general today.
Where they're going and they're saying this is a trilogy, and we're making a trilogy, so you're watching this 9-hour movie with different act breaks in it, as opposed to making a really solid 2-hour thing.
Yes.
And I guess that's why it kind of bugs me.
I did hear or read somewhere that we haven't gotten to it in your rundown, but that Poe was supposed to die in that TIE fighter crash.
Right.
But that J.J. Abrams liked Oscar Isaac so much and liked his performance.
Very likable.
That he's like, no, we're just going to basically kind of rejigger the script a little bit.
It makes sense because it makes no sense for him to live in just a desert where there's nothing around and just like not be there and not be seen.
Right. Like, how did he get so separated from from when they basically they hook up with each other?
Yes.
And I think it's these type of interactions that make me like, both of these characters really. Whereas Finn, the entire movie is really just trying to, he's kind of has his own. He's a little bit self-serving.
He's
but
very Han Solo-ish.
He's self-serving, but he ultimately gets tied into and believes in the bigger cause.
Yeah.
Right.
So like he's all right. I want to break you out of here. Can you fly? And he says you need a pilot. He's like, I need a pilot. And where he's saying one thing, but he will be honest and say, I'm just serving myself right now.
Right.
And where Poe, that kind of first interaction that they have, that's kind of what makes me like those. That type of thing. They have a
good bromance going on, a good little friendship going on, which I really dug.
Right.
Their whole, and when they saw each other again, that whole like, oh my god, hey, that was I liked all that interaction between those two.
It's very quick though.
Yeah.
It's just like there's not a whole lot of building.
Yeah.
Whereas like the scenes where Han and Luke are talking during the escape scene, and he's like, "Hey kid, don't get cocky." To that, like that's good, and I think that's very similar to the kind of interaction that Finn and Poe have. But it works because they're able to kind of like build up to that moment in the original Star Wars movies, and then kind of cool down from that moment. It's like only that moment in a vacuum, and then they kind of don't see each other again. So I don't necessarily think it works, but I can like. It gets the point across. I think it does it better with Finn, as opposed to like I don't have a name and plot points like that, which tells you a lot about kind of like where he comes from, without having a ton of
exposition.
Exposition and stuff. He also they get in the TIE fighter and they're trying to get away, and Finn, who was so moved by all those deaths, down on the surface, goes and immediately just starts blasting all the stormtroopers. There's like
who are not
40
there by
dead.
choice.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
People who are in the same situation that he was in.
I never thought about that way, but that's a good Cinema Sins pointer right there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing. So
Sure.
then they go and they fly out.
Mm-hmm. They got a little thing on it, the wing, so you can't really. They're tethered,
right. So they can't get away. They eventually break off, and then they go and they shoot up the ship, sorta. And a guy says they've taken out our turbo lasers, which is like something that, like, if you were playing like with Star Wars figurines and a bully comes over and like smashes your ship, you're like, took out your turbo lasers, freaking dork. I thought that was a very a very strange line. Torture going back a little bit, torture doesn't ever really work in Star Wars movies. A lot of people get tortured, but they never really get anything. Poe gets tortured. Eventually, Kylo Ren does his like mind reading thing, and gets it out of him. But another thing that doesn't work is honing missiles, where they go and they're just chasing around. Never has worked.
Right. Wherever they ordered those from would have the worst reviews. Yeah. Didn't even hone.
The Acme Corporation.
Yeah.
So they go and they crash. Finn ejects, he's okay, and then just take Poe's jacket.
Just take it. Because that's going to be important later.
So Rey is out collecting space junk. I like how they try to make Daisy Ridley kind of look like dirty and messy, but her face is the most symmetrical thing I've ever seen. She's insanely pretty.
Very pretty.
Yeah. She's good looking.
Mm-hmm. And then she goes and she cooks some bread. You know, that's a practical effect. That's not a special effect.
That's cool.
Little growing bread, and it's a uncut thing. That's just a really cool thing, and that's the kind of stuff that you would need to make like the original Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
I think that's a good touch.
It feels real.
The more things you have like that, the better it is.
And you're talking about like good CGI. I thought the Star Destroyer crash is really good CGI. Like that is a cool shot. Yeah. Like this movie was full of cool shots.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool, interesting shots. Mm-hmm. So she finds a sand person has captured the droid and is looking to sell it. It sounds interesting.
She basically just says like, no,
you're
go
not.
away.
Like,
and then he's like, yeah, boy, you got me. So then
swipe or no swiping.
So she goes to get her, Dora the Explorer.
Okay.
Goes up to Unkar Plot, and who's only been offering her one quarter portion.
He's like GameStop.
Oh
yeah.
Man. Oh,
it's my internet humor.
Wow. So Rey this whole time has been talking to BB-8, and he's like, I gotta find this guy. I'm on a confidential mission, and he's like, confidential, and then she keeps asking him, and he keeps saying, no, I can't tell you anything. Everything is confidential. And then Unkar Plutt offers her 60 portions.
60 portions.
That's like 20 weeks of Blue Apron, and she's just like, no, I'm gonna.
By the way, this podcast is brought to you by Blue Apron.
Yeah, brought to you by Blue Apron. Use the
promo
code Film64 and get 0 weeks.
I really like the steam asparagus.
Oh yeah. Give me the pecan crusted chicken any day.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice souffle recipe. They just gave me like 6 eggs.
Just 6 eggs.
Yeah, figure it out. What? BB-8 and her, she decides to hold on to BB-8 for no real reason.
Mm-hmm. It's a feeling. It's the Force speaking to her without her even knowing it.
You got all these movies have all these circumstances that just seem like huge coincidences that you almost gotta just forget it.
Right.
You know, it's like you almost have to just be like, okay, whatever, it's Star Wars. Sometimes. No, I don't want you not to mention it. Keep mentioning it because it's interesting. It's important. I just think though, it's just sort of part of the story now. Is that there's these weird, really dumb coincidences, and why do these people end up here? And I think it's just part of the story now.
I agree. But like C-3PO and R2-D2 offered Luke kind of information about things that he wanted to know about. He's like, oh, you guys have been in battles and you've seen all this stuff, and there's kind of something to develop the trust. BB-8 is an asshole from the second he meets Rey and doesn't really do anything. But it's like, it's whatever, it's a droid. So then you go back to Kylo Ren and what's his name? The redhead dude.
Hux. General Hux.
General Hux. Domhnall Gleeson.
He's really good in this. I like him in this. His little Hitler.
Yeah, he does a
little redhead Hitler.
Yeah, he does the Hitler speech.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait till Commander Snoke hears about this. And
he has good range as an actor. He can play a whole bunch of different, like seeing that and seeing Ex Machina. It's like the different perspectives of acting there.
He's going to be in the new like Peter Cottontail movie. Peter Rabbit.
Yeah, I was so because he had such a good hit rate in 2015 with like Ex Machina, and then this, and he was in
Revenant.
The Revenant. Yeah. He was in an episode of Black Mirror. I can't remember.
He was,
if that was the same year.
He was, yeah. It was the.
He was playing basically Ex Machina.
Yes, he was pretty much. You're right.
So like he was hot. Really good performances, and then now it's like, how much are they paying you for this Peter Rabbit?
You gotta get that
money. You're
money.
gonna sell out. You're gonna sell out.
You need to get that second house, Spencer. Somehow.
No, like I don't fault him. Like take the money, but it's a bizarre direction, change of direction.
Just to take that right away.
Yeah.
So then, Finn meets Rey, and
she just tackles him.
They start getting attacked.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole "I know how to run without you holding my hand" thing, and that's to show you that Rey is a strong, independent woman who doesn't need no man.
I mean, it was kind of one of those poking fun at tropes things,
right?
But
I think it works because it develops the character,
right? That one
more in a way.
That one didn't take me out of it because, like, I mean, that's probably how I would react if someone kept grabbing my hand,
right? When I was trying to run
with it,
yeah.
So I liked that.
Yeah, where it's comedy, where it kind of makes sense. I think that works well.
Yeah, and just Finn kind of seems like he thinks he knows what to do, but he really doesn't.
He's basically mansplaining how to survive.
Oh, definitely.
To a survivor.
All over. Yes. And he is clueless about everything. Yeah. I think another fun sequel moment is when they're running, and he's like, we'll get that.
Yeah.
Let's get that ship. And she's like, no, that's a garbage ship. And then they run towards another ship. And the ship blows up, and then they have to go back, and it's the Millennium Falcon.
I really like that, too.
That's a good, fun moment,
I like that.
I think.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, of course it's on this planet. It just happens to be here. Like, it's not impossible, but improbable, but who cares? Because now we get the Millennium Falcon back.
And I love how just throughout the whole series, it's I guess just the first three, but it's always referred to as a junk ship, a hunk of junk.
Right.
Even though it's like winning battles and destroying Death Stars. It's like amazing, but it's a piece of trash.
And it's
kind of endearing.
Yeah. And they talk about it once they know the name of the ship. Yeah. When Han Solo comes around, they're like, "Oh, we know about this ship." So then they go and they do the whole chase scene. She pulls off the same move that I did in a game of Mario Kart Battle, which is my greatest video game moment of all time.
Yeah.
Where you go and you do the stop, pull by, and shoot them. Oh, it's so good. Let's see. So then they go and they hide in the bottom of the ship after she kind of fixes it or whatever. And this is, people talk about her being a Mary Sue, where she is just immediately good at everything. Where she's like better at flying the Falcon than Han Solo. She's better at lightsaber fights than Kylo Ren.
Right.
And I kind of get that, but I think I'm okay with it.
If it was a dude, would it be a Mary Sue still?
Right, exactly. Yeah. I think that's a lot of it. Is be like, oh, what, this girl can do everything boys can?
Yeah.
Right. I think I might still have a problem with it. And again, I think it's, I think there are things you could change where she loses to Kylo Ren in the end or something like that, but doesn't die. You can do that. But it's still like, it's not enough to where I have such a negative view of her kind of character development. It's like, okay, she's just good at this now.
I mean, you just assume that she is, whether she is, Luke's daughter or something, you assume that she is like this legendary. She is somehow integral to the Jedi.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And Kylo Ren says she's strong with the Force, even though she's raw and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So they go. In the Falcon, they get boarded. And Han and Chewie are here, and Harrison Ford is at his growliest immediately.
I think we dressed a little better than Blade Runner.
I think we skipped over maybe my favorite scene.
Okay.
In the whole movie, and correct me if I'm wrong as far as timing, but when I think it's when Rey is trying to fix whatever is exploded.
Yeah. Right. They're leaking toxin.
The leaking toxins, and she's like, that one. He's like,
and then keeps showing different,
keeps picking different parts. And BB-8 points it out to him, and he gives him a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
It's what I think he's saying, like, tell her where the base is.
Yeah.
And he does, and then he gives him the thumbs up, and he gives the little light.
That is
thumbs
the best.
Up. Like, I had seen that before, and I still audibly, like, chuckled at that. Like,
he's being clever. He's,
right.
Where it gets the point across, but he's still being a droid.
Like, I can see that's, like, hokey or whatever. Someone might be turned off by that. But that is right up my alley as far as how I want
droid humor.
How I want my droids.
I think droids is cool because droids can kind of be whatever you want them to be, and they have to communicate in ways without speech.
Right.
And they do all those kind of fun things. When they go and they talk about the Kessel Run, and she's like, "This did it in 16 parsecs."
14
and
12 parsecs.
And it's like, ugh, that's the sequel stuff that I don't necessarily love about it. Also, again, the Kessel Run is definitely going to be in that Han Solo movie.
Whatever it is. What is the Kessel? Do we know what the Kessel Run is?
It's like a beer run. It's like getting beer run.
Yeah.
It's like 11:50 at night, and you got to get beer,
Yeah.
Did it until... I don't even know what a parsec is.
Well, a parsec is a unit of distance, not time. So it's been a large point of contention where people are like, George Lucas, no. But I don't remember where this is from. I don't know if George Lucas explained it or someone else. But the idea of the Kessel Run is like the Kessel is like a black hole. And so if you're able to go only 12 parsecs away from the black hole, that's pretty close. And so that means your ship must be moving pretty fast to not get sucked into the black hole.
Okay.
So that
makes sense.
That's an explanation I heard. I don't know if that's canon.
We'll see next year.
I kind of like it more of like a beer run, like they're trying to get beer fast.
Yeah, I think that's real funny. So then there's a nice unnecessary action beat where a bunch of Deadpools come on the ship. And they're all looking for Han Solo, and then they kind of just release a monster that murders them all, and it doesn't really matter. Harrison Ford broke his leg during that scene.
Oh, did he?
Oh, that scene.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff where it's like action and no consequences for the good guys.
Right.
Did they just carry Finn off?
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, and that's one of the weaker scenes in the movies for sure. It doesn't really provide a lot.
Yeah.
So.
I like how BB-8 is always just a little bit slower than whoever he's with. Harrison Ford is running so slow, and BB-8's just kind of right behind him.
Maybe it's like a motivating thing.
Yeah,
it's part of its programming.
Right. So then the monster is like on the outside of the ship, and they go to light speed, and it just like rips it apart. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I'm into that.
I'm cool with light speed ripping apart things. And then we learn that Kylo Ren is Han's son.
By Snoke.
It's kind of assumed because I think that's the Vader scene where he talks to the mask. And he's like, "Grandfather, I need you. I want to be just like you."
And then he talks to Snoke, who I really hope is like a midget in real life. He's like a really small. But
it's a Wizard of Oz type thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's awesome, though. I like the gigantic projection.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't really see that in the other movies, really. I mean,
you saw holograms, but this was clearly not the same.
No,
because I would imagine they would keep holograms consistent.
Yeah.
Like that is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's how you would do it. If you were an egomaniac villain, you would make yourself humongous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Totally.
And I think having Snoke's, it's Snokes, or is it Snoke? Snoke, as supreme ruler. It helps, kind of helps you understand that rivalry between Kylo and Hawks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like they're both younger, like generals or like Sith lords or
Generals.
They're
bad dudes.
They're both young, up and coming, but still very powerful people who have a rivalry that I think is really touched on and emphasized that there are rivals in this.
Mm-hmm. They're not friends at all. They don't like each other.
No.
And then I think that could continue to develop.
Well, I think Hux dies, right?
No, he survives. You remember because he says he says at the end, bring Kylo back to finish his training to Hux at the very end.
Oh, you're right. You're right. We also learned that Luke felt responsible for a Jedi who turned against him and then left.
Was it Kylo though?
I think later on it's pretty clear that it's
right.
That it's Kylo.
Because Leia says that she should have had Luke train him. Because I don't know, that might just be a weird inconsistent thing. Because she says we should have had Luke train him, or I wanted Luke to train him. Like she didn't have Luke train him.
I think maybe she was saying like I wanted
sent him
Luke
off.
I think maybe she's saying like she feels bad that she wanted Luke to train him because ultimately Luke trained him, but it didn't work out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, we'll probably learn in this.
I got the. Yeah, I don't know. I always felt it was Kylo, but I guess maybe I need to.
I might
back.
just be looking too much into it.
I know he's also one of the Knights of Ren.
Yes.
So maybe he went and trained with them, whatever that is. But yeah, Han now believes in the Jedi and all the Force and all that, which is it's true, all of it, which is different from what he's like at the beginning of the movies, where he's like, "Oh, you're just a bunch of magic. Nothing's better than a blaster at your side." Rey keeps wanting to get back to Jakku.
I don't get it. I don't know why she wants to. She mentions she's waiting for her family, but
right, and then when we meet Maz Kanata,
Lupita
Nyong'o,
little Lupita.
Yeah, you just take one of the best looking actresses out there and make her play a little orange goblin.
Who, like, when little Maz takes off her
glasses,
I just want to like squeeze her eyes like a pimple. It's the weirdest desire.
The
little sun-dried tomato.
That looked, I mean, it looks good by today's standards. I'm sure in a little bit it won't be, but like the impressions left by the glasses and stuff, I felt like that looked really good.
It's pretty cool. I did think that her character, even though it's like you're wasting, I mean, not that she has to be beautiful like in every movie, but like I thought the character of Maz was pretty well designed. I thought she was the way she interacts, like crawling across the table and stuff.
I like how she calls Chewie her boyfriend.
Yeah.
I like that kind of character of her. Like she's really flirty, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's half Yoda and kind of like half Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Almost. She's hanging out in the cantina basically.
Yeah.
Yep. Got some solid jizz
Got some
going.
jizz playing. Jizz is mellowed out.
Yeah.
People are into a more like like hookah lounge jizz feel.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Good old jizz music.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Spencer?
That's my favorite music.
Mm-hmm.
Got a Spotify playlist. Just search jizz in Google and it'll come up.
So they're in the cantina thing, and both the First Order and the Resistance are told, hey, this droid who has the map to Skywalker are here.
So you know some shit's going to go down.
Yeah. Let's see. And then, let's see, I think then, is that when Han tells Finn, he's like, women always find out the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like...
That wasn't even in the script. He was just telling him that.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Which I guess is basically, he's like, you ain't no resistance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rey goes and grabs Luke Skywalker's
Saber
Saber
from the one he lost
Mm-hmm.
after he lost his hand, right? That's the one that he lost his hand to.
Because it's the
yeah,
blue
it's
one.
the blue one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I like the blue one.
And she goes on her
Vision
creepy,
quest.
Yeah, her little vision quest.
Don't you hear Obi-Wan in there? Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan in there? I think you hear his voice.
Yeah, I think you do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happens, and she's like, "No, I don't want to mess with all this stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Like, this is a little too creepy now."
Never mind.
And then leads into the Hitler speech.
Yeah.
On the planet Death Star.
Mhm.
This time, it's a planet.
It's a bigger planet Death Star.
And it can destroy multiple planets.
Multiple planet. And
We're stepping up all the destruction in this
the
one.
thing is, though, it was bigger destruction, but it was less impact because, in New Hope,
no one's,
it was
no one's from any of the
it's
places. It's just kind of
random planets.
just watching random people get
Yeah.
destroyed. And then the TIE fighters come in, and you can see them coming
like
in
Apocalypse
in
Now.
front of the sun.
Yeah,
That's
again,
a really cool shot.
there's some really cool shots in this, and like cool things that you probably were like, hey, if I made a Star Wars movie, I would do this. Yeah, it's cool stuff in here.
That's a cool one. And then later on, when the X-wings are going, kind of skimming the surface.
Yeah,
I feel like a new thing in Star Wars movies is to have the ships like clip the ground.
Yeah,
a bunch.
Yeah,
I don't know why that is.
I think it's weird because when I play Star Wars games, I always fly really low though. I don't know why it's so cool, but just to see the water kind of go, like it's just kind of a cool look. Maybe see like the sand kind of like it's
right.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Han uses Chewie's crossbow for the first time, and it like explodes people. They blow up. This comes back later.
How has he never used that before?
Yeah.
What are the great fights? Finn with the lightsaber.
Traitor!
TR-8R comes out and traitor and like spins his cool thing around. That's a really cool fight. Then the X-wings come in, and then Finn's fighting, and you see one ship go and do all that stuff, and he's like, "Wow, that's a great pilot!" And it's Poe.
It's Poe.
Of course it is, because he's the best.
And then Han and Leia lands, and Han and Leia go, and they're staring at each other, and there's a nice long moment. And fucking C-3PO pops up
him again.
and he's just like, "Oh, hello!
I got a red arm.
You might not recognize me.
I have a red arm now." I can't wait for the C-3PO spinoff where we find out how he got that red arm.
Well, it looked like also he lost his silver leg. It looked like both legs were gold now.
I think he always had.
He has
one silver leg.
What?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. You don't notice it until you notice it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then Han says,
I think I heard that the red arm was a homage to Metal Gear Solid 5. The Phantom
Interesting.
Pain, because
The C-3PO?
Because Big Boss has a red arm in that, like a red mechanical arm. I heard something, because I know there was like a whole... I know he's a fan of Metal Gear, and Kojima's a fan of J.J. Abrams. There's like a picture they took together. It might just have been something. I heard something, like J.J. Abrams said something about that to Kojima, that it might have been something with Metal Gear. I don't know.
Interesting.
Maybe.
Han tells Leia, "I saw her son." And so now,
and Leia's
just
like,
in case
she's got like
she has a weird voice.
Oh
in this.
gosh.
R.I.P. Yeah, she's got mush mouth.
And then Poe and Finn meet up again, and he's like, "No, the jacket looks good on you. No, keep the jacket.
Wait, keep it.
Wear my jacket." And then you find out that R2-D2 just kind of shut down after Luke left.
Yeah, that's kind of weak.
He's depressed. Here's a question though: why is Leia still not like a Force user?
Yeah, that's
right.
A little weird, because the whole thing was Luke's like, or they said if Luke can't defeat Vader, Leia can, or Leia will become a Jedi, come into her own, and she doesn't really do that.
And she's, I don't know,
she won't ever do that.
She had,
because
I guess she does feel it when Han dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she still has a vague connection to the Force, I guess, but never trained or whatever.
Yeah, it seems like there's not really a good reason given why she is not more powerful.
So they take Rey, and Kylo's like, I can take whatever I want. And then
he takes off his helmet, and it's the guy from Girls.
Yeah. And then they have a good old psychic battle, which is always exciting when they're just like kind of looking at each other hard. And
that's drama.
Yeah. So then that's when Kylo goes back to Snoke and is like, no, she's in touch with the Force. Don't worry. I'll be able to break her. And then Snoke says, if what you say about this girl is true, bring her to me. Yeah. Which is just as bad as no. Like, I don't know. It's like trying to be big. He takes so long in between each of those words.
Right.
It's so weird.
It's like when he unnecessarily says, your father, Han.
Yeah.
Solo. Oh,
okay. Cool. Thanks for that.
That was for the audience, but yeah.
Well, the first 2 times they made it clear Han Solo was his dad was for the audience.
Well, Snoke was definitely trying to make it for the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Rey uses her Force mind trick on Daniel Craig, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Is that Stormtrooper.
Oh, that's right.
And escapes. I like Kylo Ren having the little like emo fits.
Yeah, I'm fine with him. I never thought he was annoying.
I think that's a good, like, that's the kind of like crazy emotion that I feel like they talk about in the prequels a bunch, about like what Anakin should be like, where he like is literally killing people, just like murdering an entire race of
and
people.
The children
like
too.
Just things go wrong, and Kylo Ren gets pissed. and goes crazy, which I think is a better way to do it.
I never got the hate for him. I thought he was always a pretty strong character.
I like Kylo Ren.
I think it's just the fact that he's a younger actor.
So
they view it and they paint it as, oh, he's just like an emotional baby. It's like, no, everyone. That's just how somebody would react. They're like, well, if they're unstable, if they're emotional, like, you break things, and for some people that's a release, and it makes you feel good. And so that's what he's doing.
So the Death Star planet uses the power of the sun, like Sunny D. They say, use the power of the sun.
Yeah.
But wait, of which sun?
Oh, there's just a bunch of suns just near them that they just suck it in.
Yeah.
The sun.
So then they go to set up the big last battle. It is the exact same plot as Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Where you have to go to the planet to turn off the shield to make it able for ships to go and blow up the super weapon.
Yeah.
Like, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah, and they even
rough.
said it's just like the Death Star. No, it's a bigger Death. They even kind of poke at that.
Yeah.
They even say that.
I think the reveal that Finn was in sanitation this late in the movie, when he's like, they're like on the planet, and they're like, all right, what do we know? And he's like, I don't know, I was in sanitation. I think that's pretty good, because it's kind of like he's been faking it the whole time, and trying to step it up. But they're still able to get a jump on Phasma, and does absolutely nothing.
Nope.
She's just like, oh boy, it won't be that easy for you guys, but of course it is. Rey meets up with Han and Finn as they're kind of wandering around. Let's see.
I mean, then Han Solo meets with
Kylo.
On
and he says,
another catwalk without
rails.
Han Solo, I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Is like, of course, he's one of those kids that uses his parents' first names.
Yeah,
it's
like TC.
Does he do that?
TC uses his parents for their first names.
There's a certain kind of kid that's
shout out
like,
to TC.
Oh yeah, Richard did this today. Like, oh, you mean your dad?
Right. Just to jump back a second, this is way back, but when Finn calls Han Solo, and he's like, "Did you just call me Solo?"
Right. Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good.
And he does it a few more times in the movie. Yeah. Let's see. he like doesn't want to be his son anymore, right? He doesn't want to be Ben Solo, and
he named him Ben, even though he had very little interaction with Han Solo,
with
or Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah.
So he's like, "Let me see your face," and he's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll show you my face."
Here's my.
And he goes, and he takes off his helmet.
And Adam Driver looks nothing like either.
He's like
Harrison Ford,
3 feet taller than both of them.
Yeah.
He drops his helmet, and he's lucky that thing didn't roll off.
I know.
The
That's
edge.
what I was thinking.
Might be really heavy, maybe magnetic.
Or he used the Force to make sure it didn't move. I think the Kylo killing Han is a good moment. I don't know. I like Kylo Ren.
Right.
So,
I think they did what they were trying to do with Anakin.
Yes.
As far as showing the conflict in the eventual, transfer fully over to the dark side. They did that a lot better because I think they actually showed what he was conflicted with rather than just saying, "Oh, he's mad because Obi-Wan's making him do homework or something."
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that the development of Kylo was good and leading up to this scene where he's clearly no turning back at this point.
Yeah. I do think that the reactions that they focus on are kind of wrong. Like they focus on Finn and Rey, and there's a very short, like Chewie thing.
Right. When it's like Chewie knows him.
Like Chewie's been with him for so long. So then Chewie takes his bow and shoots Kylo Ren, which has again been blowing up people the entire movie, and it hits Kylo in the hip, and he's like, "Ow!"
He's just hitting it too.
He barely limps.
One weird thing I kind of noticed, and maybe it's just because it seems like everyone in this movie is super young, and you brought that up earlier. It does seem, and I don't know if that's, maybe it's just that, I don't know, it just seems like everyone's really young in this.
Well, that's the thing. I'm pretty sure, like, Mark Hamill and Han and
Harrison Ford
were pretty young when New Hope came out, but like you know them as older actors, so when you see them, it's like, oh, these are old people.
It might just be our perception, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that death, they just kind of focused on the wrong things after, and they didn't make it as big of a moment as it could have been. But I do think it's cool for him to be like, "Father, I'm really struggling with something and I need your help."
Yeah.
And then just to like kill him. I did have it spoiled for me, which I
think I might have too.
I was bummed about.
Yeah.
Even though it, like, once you get in that situation, it's kind of like, yeah, what's going to happen?
It's going to happen.
They're not going to hold hands and walk off together.
And you kind of figured that too a little bit. I don't know. Yeah. I just hope. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with Leia. That's going to be interesting to see how they do that.
Yeah. Then they go off into the woods and have their,
which is,
I
think that's
fights.
Really cool. How the lightsabers on the snow and the steam coming. Yeah. That is a cool touch.
And
that's what I'm talking about with like when they
visuals.
Yeah, they visuals and they made these movies thinking like, what would be cool in Star Wars? Let's make that.
Well, Kylo's lightsaber, we haven't even talked about it, is pretty sweet.
Yeah,
with
it's
the
really cool.
With the hilt,
the hilt,
and then it's different because
it's not
like like it's like a dirtied blade, which I think is pretty cool as well.
I think that was pretty sweet.
It's very useful. You know? When you're in a little bind.
There's also a lot of like chops and slashes that don't go through, that just like kind of graze people, which is fine, I guess.
Yeah, I think we've already established like several movies in a row, like, you know, sometimes a lightsaber swipe will chop your hand off, other times it'll just knock you back, I guess.
Right.
So you just kind of have to accept that there are inconsistencies.
Yeah. So then the Finn kind of loses his fight after putting up a pretty decent shot, and then the saber's in the snow, and Rey is able to outforce Kylo again.
Now, I guess because we never saw anyone that wasn't a Jedi use a lightsaber in the other 6 movies,
right?
can anybody use a lightsaber?
Yes.
So why don't more people use lightsabers?
Blasters are easier.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's because to be able to use it properly, like you kind of have to have that extra sensory where you're able to react faster, which is why Anakin was able to race the pod racer.
Yeah.
Because like other people wouldn't be able to block things.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just it's like why people don't fight with swords today.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And then so Rey gets the
I
light.
just thought of just a whole bunch of. We have a new army of people just with swords.
Swords.
Now.
Yeah.
Military budgets have been cut in half.
Swords.
No more. We can't afford to develop automatic weapons anymore.
We got swords.
So then Rey gets the lightsaber, and the Luke Skywalker music starts playing. She's Luke's daughter, right?
Gotta be, but who was he fooling around with?
One of the sand people.
To be determined.
Yeah.
Hopefully Maz Kanata.
Yeah.
Ow.
Because they show that she has her little flashback where there's the guy holding onto her hand and she's rips away. I feel like maybe they will not make her Luke's daughter, just almost as like a trick.
Right.
On the audience.
The thing is, so her family got taken away by people, I'm guessing the First Order.
I would assume something like that.
Like when she was very young. So that would make me think it's the first, if it is the First Order, which it's got to be almost, they take her family knowing who they are. They have to know who they are, but they don't take her, who is Luke's daughter. That would be, it would be weird. So we'll see what they do there.
I think that's what it's going to be. But I don't know. It just Luke never had a love interest, really. He just didn't seem like a character. He seemed like more of an Obi-Wan where he's just sort of like this person, you know.
He seems like the guy who would constantly strike out. Like he would take a girl on a date. It'd be a great date, great conversation, and then he'd do something to ruin it. And she's like, I'm feeling a little tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like my life.
So then while while that's going on, Poe.
That's why you never tell a girl you like the movie Clockwork Orange, because that's what happens. Doesn't want to see again.
Trey, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So then Poe goes and flies into the trench, as if having the exact same plot wasn't enough. Why just have the exact same visual of flying into a trench, making the perfect shot? Man, whatever.
It's a little too on the nose. I don't understand.
I just don't get, like, of all the things that you could do, why would you make it exactly the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess because, I mean, you could say that Jedi, or you could say that New Hope, Return of the Jedi, and I'd even say Phantom Menace are pretty similar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe they're just trying to kind of keep that. We're going to try to mirror it this time and then kind of maybe do our own thing. Because I hear, again, this new one's supposed to go some great new directions.
I've heard very good things about it. So then Snoke says it's time to complete Kylo Ren's training.
Yes.
So he's going to be stepped up. I just don't understand why it wouldn't make more sense for him to win, but they get separated.
Yeah.
And then Rey has to go to be trained by Luke. I feel like that's a stronger
it's
ending.
It creates more of a kind of a emotional pull and more of a better motive for Rey in the second movie. It also doesn't make her so insanely overpowered. So yeah, it would have been very easy if it
could be the exact same thing, just with her losing.
Yeah.
Right. It's a little confusing.
Maybe they just wanted to establish that she was a Jedi or something. Like she was a powerful Jedi.
Yeah,
she was powerful.
But I think one of the things that makes Darth Vader cool in the first ones is that how powerful
he wins.
Yeah,
he beats Obi-Wan easily, and then in Empire he beats Luke. And it takes a lot of training in order to beat him. I think unless you're setting Snoke up to be the long-term bad guy, which
maybe they are.
Maybe they are. I mean, it is setting up to look a lot like Snoke against someone, and then Kylo decides he wants to be good. and kind of switches, which would be just the Vader plot line.
Yeah.
Because he's struggling with the good in his heart. And then R2-D2 wakes up, because why not?
Yeah.
Why, like...
I was, might have been when I was asleep. Did we ever get a...
No, there was not a...
Okay.
Now I do it?
Yeah.
I can't. I might have allergies. I'm sick. I can't do this.
So then they get the map, and they have Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
It's been set up at the very beginning of the movie that the Resistance is looking for Luke Skywalker, and that's all they've been doing. And so they finally find the map, and they send a girl they just met, a monster who left them to do hood rat stuff with his friend, and R2-D2 who's been shut off for like 30 years.
If we go find him. Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Unless they know something we don't know.
Yeah. And then
it would have been better if maybe she just kind of knew herself and then she just went. Probably.
Where kind of like Luke, where he just kind of
just kind of
bails
goes
out
off,
on his own.
Bails.
Yeah, I don't know. And then she gives him the lightsaber. Movie ends.
Yeah, and he kind of looks at her. Then then that's the beginning of Brigsby Bear. They start making
right.
Yeah, movies.
Yeah,
little TV show.
Yeah,
they have a kid. Yeah.
All right. So out of BB-8.
Out of BB-8.
Yeah. How many BB?
Out of 8.
Let me see. Trey, you go first.
Oh. Let me go 6 out of 8 BB-8s.
I'm going to do BB-5 out of BB-8.
Okay.
I'm going to also do BB-6 out of BB.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys, let's add a 5.
I'd say 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5?
4 out of
I'm
5.
saying 3.5 out of 5.
Do you are you confident to rank the Star Wars now? Like your favorite Star Wars movies?
Should we do that now and then again with Last
the new
Jedi?
one?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Sure. So I say Empire.
Okay.
New Hope.
I'm with you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Empire, New Hope, Force Awakens, Jedi, Sith. I always want to say Two Towers. It's not Two Towers.
Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones. Phantom Menace.
I'm gonna do Empire, New Hope. I guess it is this one, Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think it's Revenge of the Sith,
Mm-hmm.
Jedi, Clones, Phantom Menace.
Okay.
I'm going to do Empire, New Hope, Force Awakens, Return of the Jedi, Sith, and then I might go Phantom Menace and then Attack of the Clones, just because it almost has one of those room qualities where it's so bad. Or I would rather watch one again than two.
I could see that.
Yeah. It does definitely have that room quality to it. One does.
Right.
Yeah. But it's still probably worse though.
Yeah, I think it's worse.
Yeah.
But I would rank it ahead because if you give
If
it
it's
was
to
just boring.
If it's by most willing to watch.
Yeah. Most willing to watch, I would watch one again and again and again. Yeah. Just get drunk and watch that and laugh at it. Yeah.
And just because I can't take two Hayden Christensens.
No.
Yeah.
Man.
Little Annie.
Annie, but look at your mother.
All right.
Well,
So
that is Star Wars. That's all of them.
It's a wrap.
We did it.
We'll do it again next year.
Oh, God.
That is the Star Wars conversation. We're going to talk about The Last Jedi next week.
Yeah, we will.
Mm-hmm. This won't be a 2-hour podcast next week. Or
Just
maybe it will.
one review.
One
next
review.
week.
And then I guess, what other movies are you guys looking to watch before the year ends? Or
Man, there's a lot.
Year ends.
or
just
at least
this
before
week?
we do our movie of the year review. Or not movie, I'm sorry, awards. We got some awards planned.
Yeah, so definitely Shape of Water.
Mm-hmm.
The Phantom Thread.
I'm not going to see The Phantom Thread.
You're not going to
But I'm going to tell everyone I have seen it.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yes.
I mean, I'm gonna watch a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before the end of the year, just to get ready for award season.
Okay.
Yeah, Lexi and I got Movie Pass now.
Oh,
so,
I need to get that. You liking it, or have you?
I mean, I have not used it yet.
Okay.
But we've had it for like a week.
All right. Cool.
And you'd already bought the tickets for Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
So couldn't use Movie Pass for that.
Sorry.
That's fine.
I apologize.
That's okay.
All right. Stop yelling at me.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. I do want to see Shape of Water. I'm probably going to see that next after I see Star Wars. But
yeah.
In the post, I'm excited for that. Let's do some Twitter questions. We don't have too many, but we'll do some of these.
Just some of them.
Your friend, I guess, Ryan Russell. He asks,
I guess you could call him that.
Is he not your buddy?
He's like a workplace guy.
Oh, a workplace friend?
Yeah.
Okay, like
Shots fired at Ryan Russell.
You know,
he listened to 2 hours of our bullshit.
He did?
Now, well, if he's listening right now.
I mean, like if it's like life or death, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Like, okay, let's say him and Adam are hanging off a cliff. You can only save one. Who do you
Adam.
save? Okay.
Yeah.
Take that, Ryan.
All right, Ryan. You're
Sorry,
not
Ryan.
great of a friend. Me and Ryan are hanging off a cliff. Who do you save?
Well, you just
Just be honest.
how tall is this cliff?
It's like I will die.
You.
Okay.
Will Ryan also die if he falls?
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, you.
Okay. Thanks. Yes.
You did it.
Yes.
Because this is my life now, this podcast.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Exactly.
And none of us know how to do this whole feed thing. It seems difficult.
Yeah. No. Once you learn how to do this, then I'm out of here. But yeah. Ryan C. Russell. He says, "What do you do when your son is at home crying all night on the bedroom floor because he's hungry and never mind? That's
the only way to feed him is to sleep with him.
So man, for a little bit of money and his daddy's gone. And we're smoking pot now, in and out now.
Sounds like he's one of those 280 characters guys.
Yeah. He asks about if you're in the middle of nowhere in Missouri and want to see the Disaster Artist, but they pull the movie 2 days after you bought a ticket. What do you do?
So I have an idea.
Yeah.
You buy 3 billboards. If you're in a small town in Missouri, you buy 3 billboards. You blame the sheriff, even though it may or may not be his fault, and all of a sudden things start happening for you.
Mm-hmm. I say you make your own movie. When they're not going to show you the movie you want to see, you just make it yourself.
I agree with that. Have you heard about my idea for it's Be Kind Rewind, but it's alt-right Be Kind Rewind, where they take all the liberal movies and make the alt-right version of those movies because they're just pissed at liberal Hollywood.
What is a liberal movie?
So like a liberal movie would be let me think. We bought a zoo. Okay. And it would be like we
started a corporation.
Yes, we started a corporation.
Libs love we bought a zoo.
Yeah, they do. It's a liberal movie. An inconvenient truth would be fake news.
Oh no,
science is not real.
Mm.
You know. Yeah. So we're gonna make that movie.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Be Kind Alt-Right Wind. Well, we'll work on the title.
It's a work in progress.
Doesn't sound like we need to. Sounds perfect.
Yeah. Lexi Smells asks.
Oh.
Yeah. How many laughs and a half do you give Gladiator? Thanks.
I'll throw a 5 on Gladiator. I did Gladiator a lot.
I'd have to rewatch it, but I'm gonna guess it's a 5. If I had to guess what I would give it if I had seen it recently enough to recall.
I'm going to give it a 2 because I'm a contrarian.
Hey!
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow!
I haven't seen it in a long time. I mean...
You can tweet back at her. She's watching it for the first time
Oh,
tonight,
really?
So
okay.
You can tweet back
I'll
at her.
maybe give it a... I don't know.
I give you permission to tweet at my wife.
You give me permission?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Slide in them DMs, Trey.
No, I did not say DM. I said...
How do you know I haven't already?
Tweet back.
Been sliding in those.
Because I read her DMs.
Oh, that's creepy. That's an insecure person right there.
No, it's not. It's just a person who likes to be in control.
Okay. Lexi Smells asks, any good comedy shows coming up this week? Thank you for answering my questions.
I have an idea of one.
What?
On ABC, The Mayor is going to be on a brand new episode of The Mayor. That's a good comedy show that's coming up this week.
Well, since Adam took mine, I would suggest maybe, I don't know, there's this King of the Year thing.
Oh, yeah?
What is this?
This is a Dallas Comedy House.
What is that?
My comedy troupe, it's called Ashkoke, is participating. It's the finals. We do a daily weather report, like a week, like improv weather report.
Right.
You tell us what you think the weather is outside, and we just do like a real tight 30-minute set about how it's raining.
It's always raining.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Sometimes it's snowing.
Either way, yeah, it's like a King of the Hill type of thing. We've made it to the finals. If we win, we get like a year's supply of moon pies. And so you come out, you pay it's like $50 a ticket at Dallas Comedy House. It's a great time, and if you vote for us, we get moon pies.
Awesome. That's gonna be a great event. I'm not gonna go to.
And I said it was a troupe, but it's just a one-man show.
One-man show.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but Adam, yeah, you do have a King of the Hill Mountain.
King of the Year.
King of the Year.
Actually,
the last one.
I'm in the finals.
Yeah.
So people like me, I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight battle between us, between Adam and me.
Yeah. Oh, you're in it too? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
You kind of stole his bit.
Three-way competition.
It's like it was parallel thinking.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But 8 p.m. I believe 8 p.m. on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be in that, and then I have another show after 10:30 with my good watermelon pals.
All right.
So you get a whole load of me. Plus, if I win, I get a big old bar tab. Planning on getting some champagne, spraying some people in the face.
Hell yeah. Come and vote for Adam so we can get some champagne in our faces.
Champagne facials.
Adam's all about force-feeding people some sort of beverage.
He is. Which, yeah, he definitely is. He definitely is. Yeah, so I mean, we can do some. I think we got one more Twitter question.
Oh, yeah?
Gotta have a christener question.
It is a christener question.
Of course.
Chris the Fields asks,
Hey, Chris.
Hey, what are your
if
official
Shrek
Films Games Cast Hall of Greats? Best movies, games. What are your official Films and Games Cast Hall of Greats? Like, what are your... What are our
So
Hall of Greats?
let's while we have everyone's attention, let's go through our favorite directors, actors, actresses,
Okay.
cinematographers,
score.
movies.
Name one Hall of Great you want to induct in the Hall of Greats right now.
One individual or
Yes.
person.
Individual.
I would like to induct probably Tom Hanks.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one. Give me... you know what? I'm just gonna do Orson Welles.
All right. Give me Stanley Kubrick.
Okay.
All right.
Here's another one. I'll throw out a movie that I wanted to add to lesser-known movies that are really good. I enjoy Sleepwalk with Me by Mike Birbiglia.
What's that about?
It's about a guy who's trying to be a comedian, and he has a sleepwalking issue. I think it's a really good movie.
All right.
Here's one we were talking about it today at work. Brokeback Mountain. That movie makes me feel things.
Yeah. Well, it's good.
Can't quit you, either of you.
That freaking final scene. Anyways.
Anyway, this is a Super FilmsCast 64. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a great time. We've had some laughs. We've cried a little bit. And then at the end, we learned some things about each other.
Yeah.
Because really, what is, maybe the real FilmsCast was the friends we made along the way.
Certainly.
Yeah. So please smash that subscribe button on YouTube. Please give us a comment on iTunes. We don't have any comments on iTunes. I hope people are listening because I would really like some comments on iTunes. We'll give you money. We'll give you a shirt, maybe. Maybe Adam will give you maybe he'll send you a sack of eggnog or something. I don't know. Or he'll drink water for you.
I don't know if that's legally allowed in some states.
Okay. We won't do that.
Eggnog is illegal in New Hampshire.
Okay. That's legal in New Hampshire. If you're from New Hampshire, let us know. We'll send you that. Thanks.
Illegal.
Oh, okay. Then no, forget that.
New Hampshire people, don't let Trey mislead you about your laws and regulations on eggnog.
Look, New Hampshire guys, you need to talk to your politicians and let them change these heinous laws, these outdated laws.
Nog law.
Nog law. That's what we're really about on
Free
this
nog.
podcast. Make nog great again. Oh God, I did it. That sucks.
No new
That's stupid.
inoculations.
I'm getting really sick of stupid make whatever great again jokes. Anyway, you can find me at Trey Vids on Twitter. Where can we find you guys in the world?
At the Fullerton.
At Coach Chucky.
All right.
I might tweet again this week.
Yeah, tweet some more stuff this week. Give us some advice. Give us, cool tips.
Free ideas.
Thanks again for listening. We'll be back next week with something. Bye.
Star Wars.